going to touch on the Korean market with just a few highlights. And I may sound like a broken record over and over again, but guess what's popular in Korea? Korean cuisine. And get what's becoming more popular? Korean cuisine. Now, the interesting thing about Korea is it's a very mature market. It hasn't grown very much the last couple of years. It's less than 10% of the food service market in Asia Pacific, probably going down to 6 or 5% with the growth of China, but there's some interesting things we can say about it. Historically, it's been dominated by American brands. And very much like the Philippines, that's because of the historical relationships, the military presence, the fact that the most Koreans outside of Korea live in Southern California. Like the Philippines, everybody has some relative who lives somewhere in the United States. So it's been very heavily influenced by American brands. But a lot of that is changing now. Western QSR is still popular, but is really not very buoyant. And the largest full-service restaurant chain in Korea that's American is Outback Steakhouse, a business that I was a part of for many years. Outback grew very, very rapidly in the late 90s and early 2000, but it's been very stable since. It hasn't really grown, and actually the entire American casual dining segment has been in decline in the last several years in Korea, with the decline of TGI Fridays, Bennigan's, and others. Lots of American brands still look at Korea as a great place to go, but it's becoming harder and harder. And Korea is taking on a lot of the influence of Japan now. You see a lot of European bakery becoming popular, rather than Korean-style bakery, meaning the harder breads, the croissants, the baguettes, what I would say the good stuff from France and Italy. But unfortunately, the Italian or French chains are not really the ones developing the market. It's really the Shinsegaes, the CJs, the local brands are bringing over French chefs or Italian bakery chefs and giving Koreans really high-class bakery that they didn't have before. And also the basement of department stores in Korea is very, very similar to Japan, similar to the Deppachika, the Japanese basements. Wonderful bakery, wonderful desserts, incredible types of food. So Koreans are becoming a little more sophisticated, especially young people, about their food, and that tends to leave American brands behind. So the really fast-growing concepts now in Korea tend to be Korean street food, dumplings, curry, basically Koreanized types of Asian food. That's really where the growth is. Believe it or not, Korean Italian is growing very rapidly. Mad for Garlic, which has been in Korea for many years, is I think almost up to 40 stores. It's kind of a wine concept with Italian cuisine, but the large sellers are garlic pizzas and things like that, which are not really very Italian. And in addition to that, you've got Blacksmith, which is kind of a copy of Mad for Garlic, which is started by the group that does Cafe Bene, which is doing very rapid expansion. So Korean Italian's doing well, Korean street food is doing well, but American cuisine probably less so. Japanese food is always doing well, but it's primarily local entrepreneurs doing it. And the last thing I would say about Korea is that it is a very good franchising market. Lots of retirees in Korea want to own their own restaurants. So you've seen concepts in Korea grow exponentially very, very quickly under a franchise model. Companies, as I mentioned, brands like Cafe Bene grew to over 800 stores in Korea in less than 5 years through franchising models. And there are lots of examples like that with Dunkin' Donuts or Baskin Robbins and many, many others. So in summary, stagnant market, harder for American brands to compete. The consumers love Korean food more than ever, and younger people are returning to Korean food, but it has to be inexpensive, street food that's fun. Japanese food is always popular, but they've not been able to penetrate the market other than just sushi, although tonkatsu has become popular with brands like Saboten. So a lot of room still for Japanese brands. And if American brands really want to enter the market now, it has to be with much more innovative, interesting stuff than just the old style casual dining.